Welcome to the Branding Expert Show. I am Susie Liberatore, owner and art director of Visions2images, and I help businesses get their branding on track with my unique strategies and processes. With over a decade of experience, I helped corporations and mid-sized businesses create an unforgettable vision identity. I'm excited to have this podcast so that everybody can learn a little bit about branding as well as the entrepreneur world, because we all know how tough and rough it can be. So without further ado, I want to announce today's guest. Hi, everybody. This is Susie Liberatore. Today on my podcast, I have Renee Hribar, and she is a sales strategist. She's also a TEDx speaker, but she helps women entrepreneurs with sales. I'm super excited to have her. She has been my sales coach for, a year or something now. And it's been such an amazing journey. And I love her, love working with her. So I'm so glad she's here today.
Yay, I'm so glad to be here. I'm honored to be here. We talk all the time, so I'm so excited to hang out with you here. Yeah. I love your podcast.
Oh, thanks so much. So tell me a little bit about how you got into this field. I know a lot about it, but tell everybody else.
Yeah, no, we had a lot of time poolside and a lot of other places to talk.
Kind ready for Orlando soon too. We're going.
I am so excited. I love these big semi-annual retreats that we get to do. But that kind of does feed into the why I wanted to get into this. So I am not a spring chicken. I am closer to 50 than anything else. And I had been in the sales world for a long time. And I mean, since right out of college. And I love sales because I love people. I love having conversations. I don't really necessarily think I'm an extrovert, but I do love people. I don't get energized by being around a lot of people, but I do get energized by having great one-on-one conversations. And in the sales world, that was a huge benefit. I was one of the only women in my team, one of the only women even in the United States for the companies that I was working for a long time, that had the level of sales results that I was getting. So I always would have people at conferences. I was asked to speak. I was on the panel. I was brought up for awards, and people would, run over after, how do you do it as a woman? I don't know what you mean. So I really didn't own the fact that for many years that women do sell differently. Mm-hmm. So for years I had my own company. Since 1996, I've been my own independent business owner. And big companies hired me as a hired gun to come in, do their sales for them, hire their sales teams, train their sales teams. I love it. I love teaching people. So I've literally sold millions of dollars in products and services, trained thousands of really amazing people. I mean, I feel like these were like cathartic experiences, like talk about tears on a daily basis, like grown men crying, I can't do it, or, oh my God, thank you. So, I mean, I have some great stories. So, fast forward the clock, mid-30s, my husband and I have been married for 12 years. We were trying to have our son. And at that point, I had sold one business and I was starting a beverage company with two scientists. We were doing great. We were in 180 stores. We were going to the big food conventions, and we were starting to really sell our product, by the container full, you know what I mean? Like by those big truckloads. And that's when I found out that I was pregnant with my now 9-year-old. Yeah. And so at that point it was like huge life event, right? Like boom, like it hit me like a rock. Like I can't keep working like this outside of the house. Like I can't keep getting on planes and standing on my feet all day and running around and being crazy. I mean, really, it's a physical effort. So we sold the beverage business and I stayed home for 5 years. Yeah. So that experience allowed me to have some really good outside perspective of, wow, there is a whole other world here. I met a lot of really good women. That's what happened, is I met a lot of great women that were in similar scenarios to me. They have like the women that I spent time with when Ben was like, when we were in like La Leche League together, and when we were, hanging out at play dates, meeting up on meetup.com. Like I have a toddler play date time. Those women, have their masters in nuclear engineering, have their, PhD in sociology. These are highly educated, amazing women who had chosen to stay home with their child on purpose. Thankfully, they were given that choice. And so, but they were like, but there's got to be more.
Mm-hmm.
When they started looking at education for their child, there were some budgetary limitations, and they just couldn't figure out how to work and still live that life, still be home when, make make breakfast for the kids and be home, pick them up and take them to where they wanted to take them. That was the life I was living. And then I started coming into this place where I bought a book on Amazon. I got into someone's funnel. I learned about the online space, and I was like, wait a minute, I think there's another way. Yeah. We don't have to choose one or the other. I mean, these women that I was hanging out with when Ben was a toddler, we all were like deeply considering, like, should we just go work at Starbucks because they're more flexible? Legit. Because we wanted to make some sort of income to send our kids to the schools that, they were not free, and we needed something extra. So, but we didn't know how to do it. So the online space offered that bridge. I was like, oh my gosh, there's real business going on here. Wait a minute, this is possible. So I looked at all the different business models. And again, I've been in business for a long time. I'm not new to the business world. Talked to a lot of really smart people, spent a lot of time learning. And then I realized, okay, I know what I can do. I can help these women who have come into the online space, who are maybe, they are at home with their kids right now. Maybe they've already decided, I'm going to run my own business. I'm going to hang up my own shingle. I'm going to work from wherever I want to work, whether you call it the laptop lifestyle or whether you just call it, I can work wherever there's Wi-Fi. I work with clients, virtually. I can help those women unlock the key to how to sell for themselves. Because like I learned in my previous career, selling as a woman is different, no matter who we're selling to. But secondly, selling for yourself is also another level of difficulty and challenge, because we don't like to brag about ourselves, right? And when we sell for ourselves, when you sell anything, in essence, you have to really highlight the positives, right? Do the marketing and put it in such a light that there are no, in essence, there's no downside to it. But that's hard for us to do for ourselves. I even found it hard to do for myself, even with all my background and experience. So that is when I started to work with people one-on-one. And I thought, well, can I transfer these skill sets? Is this possible? Is what I'm talking about able to be accomplished here in the online space? Or do I need to open up an office space and have a local consulting office? I mean, I was open to doing that.
Right.
But no, I found an amazing communities of women that were excited about sharing their gifts with the world, but were just there was a little bridge of like, well, how do I actually explain it to the world? And I was like, oh, I can help you with that. So that's what I've been to. That was kind of the story. Does that answer that question? How I kind of came into the online space and that story there?
Yeah, no, that explains a lot of it. You have so much experience for sure. You make sales easy and confident. When you say it's hard to sell for yourself, and as a woman, like, that's totally true. Because I used to be in that situation where I was like, ooh, I can't sell, or not sell those $20,000 contracts, $50,000 contracts plus a year. Like, you working with me has given me that confidence to be able to go in there and not just own it. like
yeah.
You said. So there's a lot to it that is mindset and everything, and just shifting gears and really being able to sell. So that's amazing.
You hit it on the head. People asked me right away, do you teach mindset? And I hadn't used that word. That wasn't a part of my vernacular. But when I started to learn what they meant when they said it, I'm like, well, of course, you can't teach someone to sell, to put themselves out there and take away the mindset part. One of the most famous meetings that my people would always say I would run was like, the hardest territory to work is the territory between your ears. It's that headspace, that doubt, that, as we call it, a very popular phrase nowadays is like imposter syndrome. It's been around forever, since there were humans. It is a human nature. Men experience it, women experience it, of all levels, whether no matter their education level, their geographic location, their heritage, their experience, their cultural background, they experience, oh my goodness, am I good enough?
Yes.
And it's almost always right before they're about to do something big that could make an actual difference. And so it's that last little, that last yard of between running that whole field and then finally, boom, hitting that touchdown. We had some big football games last night.
You're so funny. So tell me what you are most excited about.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, there's a lot of evolutions happening in my business. Since I've come into the online space, I have worked one-on-one with many, many amazing people. I've also created a course, a program that people can purchase almost at any time. that's really a new evolution. I have a high-level mastermind, which you're a part of, which I'm able to have high touch. I can work with women very personally, one-on-one every day. It's a hybrid of one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and retreats. And so the real next exciting thing that I'm really, it's in my heart. I love travel. So if anybody has spent 10 minutes with me, since I was a little kid, I've just loved going places. I mean, it could be to Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. I'm still excited. I'm going places.
Yeah.
I just love experiencing other parts of the world, seeing the similarities of people and seeing the differences.
Right.
I just love it. So I am working on creating more opportunities to have those in-person events. So this past 3 months, I did an in-person conference, small in DC. I did an in-person mastermind retreat in Bend, Oregon. So these are cities that I love to be in, and also people that are already working with me are in.
Yeah, you came to Cleveland for a little bit too.
Yes, I was in Cleveland for a little bit. And then last May, you came to Detroit. We did a build a bot in a day workshop. So we're doing another type of workshop like that again this year in Detroit. So those are the kind of things I'm most excited about, is giving opportunity. I think especially in the online space, we've kind of crested this peak where we now know we can work from anywhere, but then we sometimes crave the fact that we would love to be somewhere. Specifically the people that get us, because you start to say things like, CTA and OTO and order bump, people go, what are you talking, pixel? They start like you're speaking in tongues to them. So isn't it great to be in a room with other like-minded, forward-thinking business owners and be able to speak in that language and get somewhere with it, right? To really build on it. So that's that container is what I'm most excited about creating in this next coming year.
Yeah, last January was my first business trip, and it was to Miami with you, and I didn't know what to expect. And when you say, like, because we work from home most of the time, most people, so when we say we're going to meet people, we're like, ooh, and they're online, and we don't really know them, we know of them, and going to meet them. But the fact is when you're surrounded by all of these amazing women entrepreneurs, and you all have similar stories, similar struggles, similar everything, it's when we really connected, and I'm like, yes, I love this. It's being a part of that community that we don't have when we're at home working and having that online thing. So I love that you do that.
Yeah, I remember last January, I thought, I was like, Susie hates this, because you were like, but you were just playing the role of observer. I mean, I was like, Susie, are you okay? Do you absolutely hate this? And you were like, no, I love it. But you were, sitting back, observing. I love that about you, that you are truly like that scientific brain of yours comes in and you just observe, and then it's like guns a-blazing. Like you just going crazy. You had such an amazing year.
Yeah, so, I did. I'm so happy that I found you.
Right back at you. It's a joy both ways.
Yes, for sure. So when people kind of want to start the online world or entrepreneur world, you've been in both fields, what kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah. The biggest advice that's on my mind today, and I get asked this question a lot, and that is to be patient. Mm-hmm. The online space especially, or just the world in general today, will have us believe that it can happen like that. We see people in our newsfeed, I started my business 2 months ago. What they're not telling you is that's their 5th business, and they've already done this 5 other times. So yeah, since they've already done it, this business only took this much time to create this much, result, and la, 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 la. So to be patient and to know that there's always more to the story.
I'll piggyback off that for a second. You used to tell me that true transformation takes time when I was like beating myself up. And I always have that stuck with me. And I think I have it written down somewhere. But it stuck with me because it's true transformation takes time. You have to be patient. You have to do the work to get to where you need to be. And I love that. I love that you touched that point.
It's so true. We beat ourselves because that's what happens. We become impatient. And then we believe, I'm just not cut out for this. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. And then that's the road that we start to dive down. And there's no reason for it. We were given these goals and these dreams for a reason. Not everybody feels this way. Not everybody wants to have their own business. There's a lot of people that have no interest in this at all. But if you do, then it's our moral obligation to at least explore it and to give ourselves a chance, right? When a baby falls down, when they're a toddler, you're not like, come on, what's your problem? You can't walk already. You're like, no. You're like, it's okay, honey, come on. And eventually they learn to walk.
Yes.
You know, my child who's 9, I think one of my Facebook memories came up and I was like, oh, look at you in your diaper. He's like, how long was I in diapers? I'm like 3 years. He's like, is that a long time? I'm like, I mean, it felt like a long time. He's like, is it abnormal? I'm like, no, it's not abnormal. So immediately the human brain goes to, am I normal? Is this okay? Wow. Immediately we think we're less than. So I guess the point of that is to give ourselves that patience like we would give a toddler or anyone else. We're usually hardest on ourselves.
We are, for sure. I can agree to that 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why we have to have those people surrounded by us to uplift us and to keep on going.
Can't do it alone.
No. Perfect. So you'll send me your bio. We'll put that in, and we'll put in some links for everybody to kind of check you out, because I know you have some great freebies that will help people. That's how I got connected with you. So for sure.
Yeah. Everything is available on my website, ReneeHribar.com, ReneeHribar.com. There's an H in there somewhere.
Yeah. Thanks for spelling that. Perfect.
Thanks, Susie.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right.